international, and I know there are women tuning in from the Caribbean, there are women tuning in from the US, there are women tuning in hopefully from the four corners of this earth. I even heard, like, or maybe it was in the comments, someone from Indiana. So wherever it is that you're tuning in from, do let me know. As I always say on these lives, can we touch the four corners of this earth and be an international community? I think there's such power in learning from other women, and there's such power in being in iron sharpens iron effectively. So this evening, firstly, before we go on this evening, I want to talk about the lies that you're told that stop you from becoming that girl. But before we dive into that, I always want Sundays to be a check-in point, because I ultimately, if you read the word, what you notice is there is a lot of planning and there is a lot of intention. One of my least favorite books has to be the Book of Numbers, but I've just come to appreciate it. The reason it's my least favorite book is because the order and discipline, 500 shekels of this, 200 bits of wood, etc. I think on Sundays, it's so important as a woman to check in with yourself and have an itemized list of what you need to accomplish. Routines, order always creates results. I would also say it's so important to give yourself a rating of how did the last week go and what is it that you want to achieve in the following week. The worst thing is to leave yourself to happen by accident. So for me personally, this was the week. If you watched if you listened to the video that says Girl Get Back Up, you will know this is the first week in about 2 years I shed some tears. And I actually love that for me. It did not derail my week. And I would give the last week that we've just completed around a 7. There were things that were accomplished and it was good. I'm going to add some bonus points for myself because I was impressed. Bounce back in actually less than 48 hours. So with yourself, really think about last week, were you happy with what you did? Were you happy with the work of your hands? The diligent never ever fail. There is always value in being diligent, and it's so important to assess for yourself, did I have a week where I was diligent? And by the way, it's okay if you didn't, because what happens is when you check in with yourself at the end of that week, you say to yourself, well, last week was a bit rubbish. I didn't work out. I didn't work on my business. I didn't show up for myself. But this week, these are the things I want to achieve. Because if you've been made in the image of the Most High, you have to have order and discipline in your life. You absolutely have to have order and discipline in your life. And Sunday check-in, the list is the same every Sunday. Number one, darlings, we are all checking in on our finances, asking God to bless you on your finances and not checking in yourself on your finances. Can we just acknowledge that is like wild work? Absolute wild work. It doesn't make sense. Also, checking on your health. If you track your finances and your health, there is no point in life that the devil can sneak in and you say, I don't know how it got this bad. You know, when people say, I put on like 20 stones, it's because they didn't have a tracking and checking in system. I don't know how it got this bad can never, ever, ever, ever happen if your feet are in the house of God, because you know, my least favorite book, Numbers, everything is tracked and measured. Everything is tracked and measured. That has to be the discipline that happens in your life if you want the results. Sunday check-in, the most important thing also is making sure, actually, what was your relationship like with the Most High last week? Did you ghost him? Did you ghost your father? And if you ghosted your father, I'm going to say it's okay because there's mercy and grace, because this week you are going to visit your father, like knock, knock, I'm here. Knock, knock, I'm here. Knock, knock, I'm here. Life is too spiritual for you to ghost your father. And also, can I just say, when people say, I can't hear God's voice, you can't hear God's voice often when you don't spend enough time with him. If you spend time with him, You will start to know the subtle ways that he speaks to you. I had the most hilarious moment, by the way, when I finished crying. When I finished crying, God asked me, I opened this book and I saw one word and I was like, that's God. It's a personal joke between me and him. All he needed to do is give me one word for me to confirm, no, my feelings are absolutely 100% right. You know, when it's your family and friends, I was actually just talking, one of my brothers sent me a message and I knew which one it was because I spend time with them. I didn't have to say, is it this brother, or this brother? That is what happens when you spend time with your father. You are able to discern his voice. In order for you to move forward and succeed in life, you better get good at knowing when God is talking to you. And literally, I got one word. It's actually quite hilarious. God does have a sense of humor. One single word. I was okay. I was like, back to the program. So, Sunday's check-in. You are often told lies that prevent you from becoming that girl. There are lies that you will be told that prevent you, that make your journey 10 times harder. And I really wanted us to dive into those lies because it's so important for you to reach that destination on becoming who you were meant to become. And some of these lies are so subtle. When I decided that this was going to be our live today, one of the things that came into my head was actually from the beginning of Genesis. This is how the lies are so subtle. The serpent tells Eve, if you eat from this tree, you will have knowledge, etc. All is going to be well. That wasn't the truth. Eve, in believing that lie, changed the course of her destiny and all of our destinies. Here we are in the Matrix. But the Matrix is always going to be fine because God is in charge. So, the reason I give that example to start with is because from the beginning of time, lies were told that deter you from your actual original destiny. The number one lie that you have to look out for as a woman is that your background is going to stop you from becoming that girl. That you can't sit at certain tables, you can't become, you can't achieve, you can't do because of your background. That is one of the biggest lies that you could be ingesting right now. I can't do this. I can't be a multimillionaire. I can't build this house. I can't be an engineer. I can't be an architect. I can't start that business. I can't have a happy marriage. I can't, whatever it is. There are lies that are told to you because of your background. And this community is for all women, but specifically for Black women. Especially as a Black woman, the world wants to ingest you with utter lies based on who they want you to be. Those lies can inhibit you from becoming who God wanted you to be and achieving what God wanted you to be. So it's so important in your journey to really sit with yourself and say, am I living the lies that have been told to me? Am I living the lies that have been told to me? Or am I moving on this earth like I'm the daughter of the Most High? The key here is, there are so many examples in the word with this. Esther, your background does not prevent you from getting to the palace. It does not matter. I always say, it does not matter if you are living in the shanty town in the world's poorest country right now. It doesn't matter. It does not matter if you are knee deep in debt. It does not matter if every single one of your family was an ex-drug addict. It does not matter, because God the Most High has clearly shown us, whether it be background, whether it be whether it be anything. David became a king and he started off in the sheepfold. even, can we just take a moment to realize Jesus is technically a descendant from a woman who was a prostitute? If you look at the line Rahab, if you look at the line and genealogy of Jesus, it's not exactly the cleanest line there. It is not exactly the cleanest line. So how dare you move with a lie that tells you you cannot achieve something because of your background? If you are from the lowest socio-economic group on this earth, does not matter. If you have not come from a well-to-do background, it does not matter. But you must understand this, that the world actually wants you to think, oh, I'm poor. I started off life poor, therefore I must remain poor for the rest of my life. Nobody in my family ever owned a business. Nobody in my family bought a house. Therefore, I will always be a renter. Therefore, I will always struggle. Nobody in my family knows the spirit of abundance where they can help other people. Absolutely not. You will have to be the generational curse breaker over whatever background you got given. You have seen it. You have seen it in the word. And I think as women, it's so important that you do not let your generational line determine who you're going to be. You have to move like you are a daughter of the Most High. If you do not move like you are a daughter of the Most High, the world will label you. And in that labeling, the label is not meant to enable you to succeed. Your subconscious mind will be conditioned in such a way whereby you play small. You are going to play small. And if you're thinking, no, I am becoming that girl, I want you to think about all the moves that you're currently making on earth now. What are the moves that you're currently making on earth now? Run from top to bottom. What are you doing? The hand of the diligent. What hands and what cards are you currently playing? Because if you're not making big and bold moves, that means you believe the lies. That means you believe the lies of a background that isn't able to achieve big things. You do what you believe. So really, truly, I encourage you to look at the hands that you're playing on this earth. What cards, what are you doing? I always say, look, I don't do religion here. I do not do religion. Religion will have you pray and pray and pray. And then when it comes to what are you doing, you say, I'm praying. Absolutely not. You pray and then you go and do the work. So what big girl moves in becoming that girl are you deciding to do? Or is the spirit of fear, the spirit of nobody has done this in my family, holding you back? If I were you, and I've read the book of Esther and I will continue to read back to front, there is no, you can't sit in the palace. That doesn't happen in God's kingdom. You can take a seat in the palace. Esther was an orphan. Her uncle brought her up. She was from a background where her uncle actually told her, keep your background a secret. She got to the palace. She got to sit on the throne. That story has so many different layers that God is trying to reveal to all of us. David himself, it's God who dragged David from the midst of nowhere and made him king, and a man after his own heart. So in your Sunday check-in, and I, by the way, when I speak, I'm always speaking to myself. I am not sat here on any throne. God forbid. Absolutely. I'm always speaking to myself and I'm always checking in with myself. In your Sunday check-in, what is going to be your big girl move? What is going to be your big girl move? I'm also consciously aware, like, can we just take a moment? We're in August. We are in August. August, September, October, November, December. Halfway point has passed. So if the halfway point has passed, in order for this year to be fruitful, what do you need to sow in the ground? What do you need to sow in the ground? I did do a video because this is like my number one rule. I cannot pray to God and ask for him to multiply something that I haven't done the work for. Because 0 times 100 is going to be 0. 0 times a million is going to be 0. He can't multiply if you haven't actually delivered at your end. You have to deliver something at your end in order to be able to get the results of what you want. And by the way, think big. Think big. Your limited background wants you to think in a way whereby the goal is small. I watched something on TV. It's actually YouTube, but TV a night ago. And this guy built a massive resort in 2 years. And I said to myself, he didn't mention anything about God, but I was like, I'm sure that man believes in God, because he was like, even though trials and tribulations happened, and even though to everyone else it's impossible, that's not going to happen, he knew it was going to be locked down in 2 years. That is the power of saying, I am going to make big and bold moves. So what is your big and bold move? And you do not have to write in the comments, because we know life is very spiritual, but it's for you to know in your heart and you to actually write a plan. If I'm going to finish this year strong, what is my big and bold move? What is, no caps, what do I actually need to achieve? And then, because success comes from routine, everything that you desire to achieve, there has to be a routine and order to it. On this earth, I'm utterly convinced that they want chaos and disorder so you are not successful. God is a God of great order, a God of great logic, but logic to God, not logic to us, because it's that trust the Lord in all thy heart and lean not on thy own understanding. There seems that not human logic, God logic. God is a God of order. So what do you need to get in order for that to be achieved? Let's say, for instance, if you're a girly or a woman who is wanting to set up a business, the first thing I'm going to say to you is you have to start everything from where you are now. Start from where you are now. Whatever your big girl move is, what can never happen on this earth, you say, I will start when? No. You start everything in life from exactly where you are now. Again, there are so many countless examples of that. David, he didn't get to the throne because he waited to get there. I'm going to wait till all these pieces are in place. That is a lie that the world wants to tell you. You can only start this when you have this, 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 and this. God will use everything that you currently have to get you to the actual destination that you want to. So for your big girl move, you need to start from where you are now. And you also will need to think about, if you want to set up a business or anything, you start small. I've given an example before and I'll give it again. Let's say you want to open up a boutique. That's what you want to do. In opening up that boutique, you currently don't have the money for the premises. You currently don't have enough money to buy all the stock and inventory that you want. Let me tell you, if I was in that position and I wanted to open up a boutique and I wanted to start from where I was and I didn't have money, I couldn't actually get a premises, do you know what I'll do? I would say to myself, what inventory can I buy with the capital that I have? If I only had $100, I will start with $100, £100, £100, 100 naira, 100 Kenyan shillings, whatever it is, I would start with that 100. I would then buy my inventory, and yeah, of course I want loads of boutiques, absolutely, all around the city, but I can't afford it now. I will then go and market that online. I would sell on Depop, I will sell on Vinted, I will sell on whatever clothing sites. I would even sell on TikTok Shop, I will sell on Instagram. Do not be a barrier to your own success on this earth, because what the world wants you to do is say, I can't, and there are all these barriers. You are prohibited from doing this because of this or this, your background. Absolutely not. Move on this earth like you belong to God. You crack on. You get on with the job that you need to do in order to see the result, starting from exactly where you are now. Things can't be multiplied 100-fold, 10-fold, whatever fold, if you don't actually put the seed. If you notice in the word, the book of Matthew, it means so many things when it says plant the seed and God will multiply it 10-fold, 100-fold, etc. That means there's something that you have to do to see the return. So it's so important to think about what the big girl move is that you need to make this week, and to have an aim of your big girl move that you are going to complete by the end of the year. I have my big girl move written down. I decided my big girl move maybe two months ago. My big girl move, what I need to lock down, is written down. And guess what? Working backwards, I have a plan of execution, because I know my father is a father of order, a father of accounting. I'm going to be honest, when I read the book of Numbers, it gives me a slight headache, because I'm like, I'm not ordered enough for this. 1,000 this, 2,000 this is itemized, that's itemized, this is itemized. Write the plan, write the vision down. Be very exact. And another example that I can give, I know this might offend someone, and I'm really sorry if it offends you. Sometimes we don't actually like what we need to hear. It's like when people say to me they are overweight, I'm like, how? The plan is simple. You need to know how many times you need to work out. You need to know exactly what you're going to eat. So how? If you have it locked down, an action plan, and you follow through, the results are always going to be there. And if you track it, I don't believe in the notion of, I don't know how I got to this point. Because if you're tracking things, you always know, we're going off track here. We are going off track here. If you track your finances, if you track your weight, if you track your projects, the devil wants you to go on a nice detour. But if you follow the order of the Most High, no detours allowed. No detours allowed. Nothing is derailing the program. God's will be done, and we're not getting derailed from actually what you were meant to achieve this year. I put my hand up. Let's just take a moment. I've said this before. There have been a couple of years that I've got in the bag. I had zero fruit on the tree. Why did I have zero fruit on the tree? Because some of the lies also told to us is soft girl life. Soft girl life will have a lot of women broke. And I live a very soft girl life, but I was interpreting it wrong. Soft girl life, you still have to sow seed in the ground. You have to sow seed in the ground. Soft girl life done well, your life will be completely at ease. But soft girl life does not mean that you have no purpose. A lie that's honestly told is soft girl life to prevent you from becoming that girl, to be purposeless. It's also told, unfortunately, to encourage people to spend all in the name of soft girl life. And then when you look at your balance sheet, there's nothing there, because we're living the soft girl life. But you know from the beginning of time, again in the book of Genesis, 20% of your money needs to be working for you. If you read Joseph in the house of Pharaoh, 1/5 was put aside. 20% of your money needs to be working for you. That's a soft girl life. Do you know why that's a soft girl life? When your money becomes your hardest employee on this earth, you get to live a soft girl life. But soft girl life, the lie that's been told to prevent you from becoming that girl is spend it. And then you'll be, no. If your money isn't the hardest employee that you have, becoming that girl is going to be a long road, a long and painful road. And if you think, hold on a second, how is that true? The supporting scripture to this is, remember the parable of the talents. The master says to the servant, hold on, you just buried the money. You just buried talents. That scripture has a double entendre meaning, two meanings. You buried the money in the ground. You did not go and make that money work for you. Make your money work for you. Sunday check-in, make your money work for you and ask yourself, is my money working for me? I also want to say, I think it's so important. Everyone is at a different level. If you're currently in the position whereby your primary concern is my daily bread isn't covered, if you're in the position where your daily bread isn't covered and you are just above water, firstly, that's okay. Do not look at, oh, they're enjoying this, they're doing that. Absolutely not. What really matters is how you get yourself to my cup is overflowing. And in order to get yourself to that my cup is overflowing, it's really a matter of you asking yourself, okay, I've been given these talents. What do I need to do to multiply them further? What do I need to do to increase them? What is my plan of action here? That should be the focus. Because I think as women, and especially in a world where you can see, we live in a very bizarre time. We can see what people share and what's going on, etc. If, as women, the most important thing is focus on your race. Focus on your race. What does that scripture say? Aim to live a quiet life and mind your own business. Translated in Nigerian, face your front. Face your front. So if you're in the position whereby your daily bread isn't covered, and actually you're not in the position where you're thinking about business, your big girl move this year is to make sure your daily bread is really good. It's to get, what do you need to do to get that money together? What's your step? And the reason I give both examples is because each check-in that you do with yourself on this earth, with all due respect to everyone that you know, including me, what we are doing does not matter. What we are doing, what anybody is doing does not matter. You need to say to yourself, I don't care what your race is. I'm focused on what my big girl move is. This is why I say you have to be your own muse. You have to be your own muse. Content creators, people that share content cannot be your muse, because it's all about your journey. If you notice in the Bible, there's no story that's repeated. There's no one who has the same destiny and the same outcome, indicating to us you are one of one. You are one of one. You are the blueprint. You are the actual blueprint. So you can't run my race. I can't run your race. You can't run anyone else's race. There's a big girl move that you're meant to achieve this year. And the scale of that move is between you and God. But there is something that you're meant to do this year. The level of that is between you and God. And the reason why I say this year, back to that scripture, the servant buried the talent in the ground. And then the time passed, nothing happened. We must always understand time is the most important asset. When you go back to the very beginning, when we first get introduced to God in the book of Genesis, there are certain elements that are really key there. 1, time. 2, the word, speaking. If you don't utilize your time, you don't get to create diddly squats. You create nothing when you don't utilize your time. God showed us in utilizing time, look at all he did. So if you utilize your time, there's a world that you're meant to create. So when you check in with yourself, it's really saying to yourself, what am I meant to achieve? Taking it step by step. This week, what am I meant to achieve? Don't worry about what you're meant to achieve in 2027. You have to play the game for this week. You have to play the game also day by day. Every day absolutely counts apart from the day of rest. Every single day counts apart from this day of rest. In terms of other lies told, I think, and I'm going to try and slowly explain this because this one is very nuanced. The lies told is that you can't quantum leap. When you read that Bible back to front, you really come to understand the world wants you to spend 40 years working just to be promoted to a manager level. Because of what it benefits. Remember, the serpent told Eve a lie because it benefited the serpent. The world is going to tell you a lie because it benefits the world. This notion that you are meant to slave away for 40 years and then you become a manager and then it's all said and done and then you get a little pension pot. Can we all acknowledge that is a lie? It is a lie that is not meant to benefit you, and you cannot subscribe to it. The notion of quantum leaping, let me explain how I've got to this point and how I personally think in terms of nobody on this earth tell me you've got to work for 20 years and then they're going to give you a position of a manager. Absolutely not. Not when my God has shown me quantum leaping is a whole entire thing. Firstly, David. Can we take a moment to acknowledge David went from being in the farm straight to king? God does not need you to go from farm, then you get promoted to farm lead, then you get promoted to deputy farm lead, then you get promoted to deputy farm manager, then he's going to make you department of farm, then he might make you to work in the palace, then he might make you head of this quarter, is not how a father works. David went from farm to kingship. Straight quantum leap. The world wants you to take things in this promotion requires the world's rules. If you live that lie, you will suffer on earth. It was years before he became king because there is pruning in that journey. There is always pruning in that journey. It was years when the Israelites, let me just share this. La Chantal says, yes, it was years before he became king. Absolutely. But he doesn't do 5,000 other jobs to get to kingship. In order to get to wherever it is that you're going, for you to be able to hold that position well, you must be pruned. You must gain wisdom. You must gain understanding. I'll tell you why I say this. We have all, it doesn't matter what part of the world you're in, whether you're in America, whether you're in the UK, whether you are in a country in Africa, whether you're in the Caribbean, everybody has heard that there are some people who win the lottery and then within a very short period of time, they are bankrupt. Do you know why? They went through no pruning process. They didn't learn the power of multiplying money. They didn't learn how to manage money. They didn't learn the discipline of tracking and accounting. They had none of God's By the way, all of this is in the Bible. God has told you even what to save. All of this. So they didn't learn that. So what was going to happen to the money? The money was going to disappear. So in quantum leaping, I'm not saying there isn't a period of pruning. There is all May there always be a period of pruning in all of our lives, because the worst thing is to get to the destination and then you lose it. The worst thing is you get to the seat the Most High has called you and then poof, you can't manage it. You cannot manage it. You don't know what to do with it. Whether that be a business, whether that be a marriage, whether that be anything under the sun. In quantum leaping, my explanation of that is because the world will want you to spend 5 years being a trainee, 2 years working in admin, 4 years, all then so you finally become no. And do you know the fastest way to be pruned? The fastest way to be pruned is actually read the word. Read the word and you will be pruned and sharpened in a way you can't even imagine. The logic and sense that will fall into your head is unbelievable. I can't remember where I read this. And I genuinely can't remember where I read this. But someone had said they didn't know how to speak English. No idea about English. They also described themselves as having no sense. They said, I couldn't speak English and I had no sense. I was constantly failing my exams. I simply decided I was going to read the word. That person gave the testimony that not only did they learn how to speak great English, they also graduated and they have now set up successful businesses. And they attributed that just from reading the word. So if you want to be sharpened, if you want to quantum leap, the sense that the Most High would give you from that book is unbelievable. I like to go into the secret place so I can be sharpened. Sharpen me, please. And sometimes it is going to get ugly. I am sure there would have been moments in David's life. He's like, get me out of this sheepfold. Get me out of this sheepfold. Or maybe that's just what would have been me. Me that doesn't like rain. I don't like mud. I don't like to get dirty. Get me out of this sheepfold. Can I just get to the palace already? And I joke about this because perhaps we've all been there where we just want to get to the destination. Lord, just take me to the palace already. But the wisdom in the journey is important. But that is very different to the world saying to us, you need to go through, if you want to own a really great business, it's going to take you 500 years. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The other lie that's told is that you must work harder than everyone else. If you are a black woman, the serpent wants it in your brain, in your spirit, in your subconscious, that in order for you to succeed, you must work harder than everyone else. You must put in 100 times more effort. In becoming that girl, you will become exhausted. If you move on this earth with that lie, you will become exhausted. You'll be out in the field every single day straining yourself. Every single day, taking the hardest route, taking the longest route, doing the uttermost. I believe in hard work. I believe in hard work because God has told us to do a good job. He's told us to be diligent. He did not tell anyone to work 10 times harder because of their race. That doesn't exist in the Bible. It is so important to take that out of your subconscious. Because if you decide that you are going to carry the load and prove yourself 500 times over because they want you to believe that you have to work 100 times harder, you will suffer. You will suffer. This is really, really key. If you notice, it's God that multiplies. You don't have to work 10 times harder. He's told you, sow the seed and I'm going to multiply it. But the lie that has to be told so that you become the load bearer, so that you are not able to sit in your feminine energy, so that you are not able to be a woman at rest, so that you don't have a life of ease, is work 10 times harder because you are X. whether that be a black woman, whether that be because you're from a particular continent, whether that be because you're from a particular background. If you want to get to your destination of becoming that girl, becoming the woman that God has called you to be, and you want to get there without being exhausted, without having to do too much, you've got to take that lie away. The serpent is the one that spread that lie into every bit of blood and DNA. I hereby say I rebuke and I reject it over every black woman's life on this earth, because it is not beneficial. There are many women, unfortunately, that I think then don't know how to rest. Everything they have to do too much because they think they have to overprove themselves. They have to really go hard, all because they don't realize the subtlety of a gentle whisper that was told, which is making them go harder than necessary. Once you know that the Most High genuinely exists, once you understand He is the multiplier of things, your only question every week is, what have I sowed in the ground for God to multiply? That is your only question every week. Because I'm not saying don't do any work. I'm saying stop trying to take the hardest route when God is the one that multiplies it. Stop believing the subtle lie that somehow, because of your race, because of your background, because of anything they want to say, you must do it 100 times over. Stop doing that. All you need to ask yourself every single Sunday is, did I put seed in the ground for my Father to multiply? What have I done to elevate this week? What have I put on the plate so that God can say, daughter, I take it and now I'm going to multiply your efforts. I'm going to enable you to, you've put this tenfold, hundredfold, etc. This is so key. Never ever show up to your Father's house empty-handed. And then, I've shared this before. This used to be me, by the way. I told you I had a period of 2 years. It was actually quite interesting. So, showing up to your Father's house and you're like, you haven't multiplied anything. And He's like, but darling, you haven't given me anything to multiply. What do you think this is? Also understand, even Jesus had to go up and down the earth and spread the ministry. God didn't just say, Jesus, come on earth and boom, I've done all the work for you. Son of God still had to do the work. So, hello, what about you? And look, whether you love Jesus, whether you dislike Jesus, whether you don't believe in Jesus, you know Jesus. You know Jesus, whether you're a Jew, whether you're a Sikh, whether you know who Jesus is. And the reason I say that is, when God multiplies, because you have put the seed in, they will know exactly who you are. They will know who you are. Just put the seed in the ground. Just do the work that you were called to do. And really sitting with yourself and understanding what your purpose is. What your purpose is so key. I think there's only one more lie that I wanted to really discuss in becoming that girl that prevents you. And this one, I think maybe about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I said, on what planet? Words are really powerful, by the way. And I'm a bit of a linguist. I love language. I like words. Maybe this is why spending time reading the word is, I genuinely enjoy it. One of the things that I realized, there is a war on your money. There is a war happening on your money so that you don't become her. Let me explain. Disposable income. When I sat with it, I was like, what? Disposable income. They have given you a lie that says you have disposable income. So whether your money is coming from a 9 to 5 or your money is coming from business, The world has created this gentle, subtle notion. You have got after your bills is disposable income. And then we wonder why God's children aren't able to buy the land. Then we wonder why God's children aren't able to own assets. Then we wonder why God's children aren't actually able to make a difference and feed the poor. Because the subtle lie is, yes, you've paid for your bills and the rest is disposable income. Inhale breath. Hello. That is so dangerous. Because what do you mean? Dispose of my income? Because disposable means that you're giving it away. You are just disposing of your income. They're allowing you to have no intentionality with that money. The first thing I think for me personally, when you understand is God's money, you stop playing around with it. Yes, God wants you to have nice things. He wants you to enjoy life, all of that good stuff. Absolutely, yes. However, to dispose of your income, no. That lie will set you up for failure. It will set you up for failure because if you even notice, even with Jesus, when I can't remember who said to him about paying the taxes, he went to the water, fish, got the money and gave it. So showing money even has to be in existence for basic elements like paying taxes. Caesar's taxes needed to get paid. But the notion of disposable income is there to program every single one of us just to dispose of our money. And guess what? When you just dispose of your money, where's the defense? When your father told you money is a defense, but you're just disposing of it, which is why you have to stick to the original word, which is 20%. 20% needs to be banked away. You cannot dispose of your money. And secondly, when you tie that 20% to the fact that your father's already told you in the book of Matthew, what are you doing with that money? You are meant to go out and multiply it. Like I said before, like if money is not your most hardest employee, somehow the world has got somewhere into the subconscious to enable you to suffer. Sunday check-in has to be a part of you where you sit with yourself and say, let me assess 1 second this bank account sheet. Let me assess how much of my money I'm disposing of. If you're disposing of it, all of it, and nothing is in check, the devil has been a cunning serpent there. Very cunning. Because he's conditioned you and told you a subtle lie. Dispose of your money. All these, and do you know how the subtle lie is enforced? If you go on TikTok, I'm sorry, 99% of things is so you buy something. Sell. Buy this, this. So you dispose of your money. Because you then don't have that defense. You cannot have the defense of money, but then if you don't have God, then it's really game over. It's game over. So it's really key to assess what lies you're told. It doesn't matter what background you're from. It literally does not matter. It does not matter if every single one of your family was an absolute failure. It doesn't matter. You're the generational curse breaker. We've seen it time before. Family history does not dictate success. Not in the word. And if it's in the word, that means it is actual life. You are not inhibited from becoming who you're meant to be just because nobody else has achieved it in your family. Secondly, you don't need to work harder than anyone else. Do you know what story I find fascinating? I can't actually remember what book this is in, but there were the servants who came first and they agreed a wage. And then there were the servants who came much later in the day and they agreed the exact wage. It's what you agreed to is what you will get. The first servants were annoyed. How can you pay us the same when we've been here working all day? The second servants, and what did the master say? Did you not agree to this? Did you not agree to this wage? If you agree to it, when you get paid, and this is, I not just mean in a monetary sense, when the result is what it is, but you agreed with the thinking that it's meant to be a struggle for you. You agreed with the notion that actually your background means you can't achieve certain things. You agreed with the fact, if you are in agreement with it, that will be the result. The second servants that came, or labourers that came to do the work, they agreed one wage. The first agreed another wage. Where 2 or 3 are in agreement, we always think that means agreement in the physical. You can be in agreement with things that are in the spiritual, and that will be exactly what you get over your life. Please understand. You can be in agreement with spiritual matters, and that would be the exact result you get in your life. You agree that you must work 10 times harder. Guess what? On this earth, you are going to make it hard for yourself. You are going to take the hardest route to get there. I always used to joke, if you want to know your thinking, if I gave you a task right now and I said, I need for you to get to the opposite side of the world. So for me, let's say I need to get to New York. I need to get to Tokyo. It takes forever. How am I going to get there? Some people are going to tell me they're going to do this. They don't have the money. Then they're going to have to do this. And then they're going to do this. Then they're going to have to do... No. I'm going to take the easiest route. At this point, before my answer used to be, I'm going to fly business class. Now my answer is I'm taking my private jet. I'm not in agreement with any lack, any bit of struggle, any bit of thing contrary to what God said. How are you going to get to your destination? What are you in agreement for the end result? God has called you. You are the first person on the field. What are you agreeing to? You are in agreement with it. The first labourers, you agreed. Your life now, as you're currently living, is what you have agreed to. Do you like it? Can I just say, this is a question I always ask myself. Do you like what you currently see? Do you like what you currently see in your life? Over the various heads, relationship, where you live, your job, your business, the people that you have around you. Do you like it? It's a genuine question. If you don't like it, Sunday check in with yourself. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to change it? What needs to go? What needs to be eliminated? What needs to be brought in? This is so key. Because what you see is exactly what you've agreed with. In the physical, well, it's always in the spiritual, but in the physical and the spiritual, you are living the life that you have said, I shake on this deal. Your bank account, you shook on the deal for everything that you have. Your house, you shook on the deal for everything that you have. If you are in a relationship, whether you're dating for marriage or married, you shook on that deal. So what you're tolerating, how you're being treated, you shook on that deal. You're in agreement with it. As women, I think it's so important. This is a word I actually had to say to myself. I had to say to myself, I don't even know when. And what I mean by when, whether it was a few years ago or like 5 years ago, but I consciously remember saying to myself, on this earth, what will never, ever happen is I do not take ownership of what I've consented and agreed to. Because it's so easy to say, my circumstances are as a result of everyone else. So personally for me, I had to say to myself, I take ownership for the situation I'm in because I must have had a part, an agreement to it. One thing you must understand in the world, everything is by agreement. Nothing whatsoever is unilateral. Everything is by agreement. The only one that can make unilateral decisions is God, but everything you do here is by agreement. The spirit and the physical, you are always moving in agreement. And this is, in talking to myself, I think it may have been 5 years ago, I said to myself, please, darling, I call myself darling as well, just by the way, because if you're new here, my favourite words are darling, bestie, doll. So I said to myself, darling, darling, stop it. Absolutely freaking stop it. Take ownership of where you are. Take ownership of your circumstances. Nobody has done this to you. You had to play a part in it. Take your ownership, because when you take ownership, you give yourself the opportunity to change the situation. Even, can we just say, even Jacob took ownership, because Jacob and his uncle did the 7 years. Oh my gosh, 7 years. Then you got conned. They gave you the wrong wife. Then you did another 7 years. Then they gave you the one you actually wanted, the one you actually loved and had agreed to from the beginning. They gave you Leah. You should have got Rebecca. Then you finally got Rebecca. Then his uncle started to do, like, he was working and work. Jacob said, I'm not in agreement with this deal anymore. Me, my wife and my kids, we have to step out of this deal. So in checking in with yourself, what are the situations and circumstances that you have to say, I check out? This isn't it. Because as a daughter of the Most High, I know my value, I know my worth, I know what I'm meant to actually, I know what the word says. And the key always has to go back to, if you know what the word says, are you in agreement with anything that is less than? You have to check out of it. Sunday check-in, you have to check out some situations. There are some situations you honestly have to be on earth. No, thank you. No, thank you. I was thinking, it kind of ties into the labourer. I have moments where I just randomly think to myself about life, about the world, etc. And one of the things that made me think, I said to myself, there have been moments when I had a full-on career where I said, why did I accept that wage? Why was I in agreement with that? I was in agreement with it because, I accepted the wage because I was in agreement with it based on value. What are you agreeing with based on incorrect value? Let me say that slowly. What are you agreeing with based on your incorrect value of yourself? Wherever you value yourself in all aspects of life is what you will agree to. I don't think I've ever said this. I don't believe I have. But my mother always used to say to me, a woman will willingly eat dog food if she doesn't have bread in her house. She would allow a man to come and give her dog food if she doesn't have bread in her house. However, if that woman is used to eating in a Michelin-starred restaurant, there is no way that man will be able to say, come and eat dog food, and she says yes. By the way, this is not about dog food. Because she has a value that's already been set, she can't agree to eating dog food. Because she knows where the value is, what her value is, and she has a value that's been set, there is no way she can agree to eat dog food. It's just not possible. The thing is, you have a value that was set. We all have a value that was set. But the serpent wants to be subtle and erode that value in so many different ways. What we must understand, and this is my personal thinking, one of the things that has to happen is a war on your value, a war on your perception of who you are. This is why I'm firmly, no, I am who I think I am. I am that girl. I am a daughter of the Most High, because nobody on this earth should be able to come and tell you that you move like anything less than. The moment you start to move like anything less than, you're going to eat crumbs. You are going to eat crumbs. Because the world will serve you the crumbs, and then you're going to be in agreement, because you don't realize the loaf was already there for you. In the book of it's between the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, if anyone knows which of the books it is, where the woman says to Jesus, she wants Jesus's attention. She wants Jesus, I think, to heal her sick daughter. And Jesus is like, I'm busy. This loaf is for the children of God. And the woman says, even the dogs eat from the crumbs. You've been given the loaf, but you want to actually take the crumbs because you don't know your value. Assess in your situation, in every bit of life, when you check in this Sunday, whenever you watch the replay, where have I settled for crumbs when I know from the beginning of time, the bread of life, I got the whole loaf. They didn't actually leave the crumbs for me. So if you are settling for crumbs in relationship, even in like work, job, business, etc., it's up to you to rewrite that lie, and it's up to you to overcome that subtlety, because some of these things are so subtle, by the way. Don't think the world is going to say to you, we're giving you crumbs and you're going to eat the crumbs, and we're no. It's a cunning world. It's a cunning world. And you have to position yourself whereby what you agree to, the life that you accept, is the life that God had planned for you. And somehow you haven't inadvertently ended up eating crumbs. Nobody should be eating crumbs when they haven't been called to eat it. But it's that ownership and acceptance. I personally think that might be the end of the live, but do let me know if there are any comments, any questions, anything to add. And if you're watching the replay, one of the most things that I really love is knowing where people are watching from. Like I said, I can't remember, I think it was Friday's live where there's Caribbean, Indiana. So, and another thing I would say, I'm starting to recognize names like to a burner. It's La Chantelle. So let me know where you're coming from, and let me know if you've got any questions. If there are no questions in the next minute, I'm going to say this is the end of the live. And yes, I'm hoping the replay is going to be available. I'm going to press end live, and hopefully it will upload. Is Friday's live available? I missed it. Friday's live isn't available, but what I am going to do is do a pre-recorded video of like the front element of that. I'm hoping when I press end this live that the upload is going to just be able to upload and do its thing. I will leave my phone and not do anything at all with it, and just leave it by the side until it uploads. Hopefully it doesn't take forever. So yeah. Are there any other questions? Please, can I just say, one of the reasons I set up this community, I genuinely want the girls to win. I genuinely want the girls to win. So the only thing I can say is just do the work, and really check in with yourself. There is nothing more amazing, and why am I even getting emotional? There is, I'm watching for Paris. We move you all around the world. Oh my gosh, you're just across the pond for me. I don't even know why I'm getting emotional, but this is like so important to me for us to win. It's so important for me for us to win. And it's just one of those things whereby, do you know what? I never thought I'd be one of those people that got emotional like this. But it's so important for me for us to win. There's nothing I'm selling. There's no courses. There's the only thing that I want as a result of this is that you win and you actually get the life that you desire and want. And you win really well and hard. That's the only thing I want. There are no courses. There's nothing to buy here. Just go and win in the world. That's it. That's the payback. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. Charlotte NC. I really want to go to that part of the world, by the way. I have been to the US. So Charlotte NC. I've heard so many things. I do want to go there. Full transparency, I don't think I'll be visiting the US for the next, how many? I think we've got 3 years remaining. 3 years remaining. Yeah, so thank you all so much. Pashmina said your content is amazing, has been life-changing for the last 2 weeks I've been watching. That's really great, and I really hope that everyone is able to just put the work in. The only thing I would say, I'm actually not the original source, so I just like to add the practical elements and be the cheerleader. And it's so important for all of us, myself included, to go back to the original word. Come here, put the practical things in place, but also make sure you go back to the original word all the time. The actual charging bank is God. So thank you all so much. And again, I just didn't even think I was going to get emotional. But here we are. Have the best week. And I think, am I going to do a live on Friday? Yes, I am going to do a live on Friday, but it's going to be very late in the evening. So have the best week. And I will be back on live on Friday. Bye, darlings.